Okay, so we are gonna start to deconstruct this city scene. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about getting in enough hours of art time each week. And very specifically, I want to talk to people who work full time, because a lot of people who take these classes work full time. We have a lot of people with big ambitions. And it's important to manage your expectations around getting in enough art time, because it's the last thing I want is for you guys to feel terrible. So I'm a professional artist, right? I have one part-time job. I work 20 hours a week, and I run this business, which is about 15 hours a week. So how many hours do you think is my minimum studio time? And what would you guess is my minimum?
In about 50 to 60 hours of studio time.
80? I don't know when they take
I couldn't sleep if I did that, but it's a good guess. It's a good guess. But what I'm asking is something slightly different. I'm not asking you my average. I'll tell you what my average amount of hours I get in a week is in a minute. But what do you think my minimum is? What would you guess?
20.
Close. It's 12. If I get in 12 hours a week, I'm happy.
Does that include, you include your class time, or?
No, it does not include my class time.
Okay.
It's my own studio time.
But you are
So,
working during classes as well, so.
well, but that doesn't count. It just does,
Yeah, but
honestly.
that's-
Quite
yeah.
frankly, it just doesn't count. Sorry, guys, your work.
Ah.
I love it, but it does not. I mean, it counts as
If you
art
are, but if
time.
you are creating
It-
something while you're teaching.
Every once in a while, I can get in some real work, but I have a set of paintings. I mean, I'm a professional artist, so I have to get a certain amount of work done. I do not work on that stuff when that makes me the money when I'm working with you guys. So that's what I want. 12 is a lot. So my average amount of time in the studio is 20 to 30 hours a week, right? And maybe sometimes more when I'm really pushing it hard.
But that's not in the studio, that's just for work. But
No,
you're in the
that's
studio
my work,
Your
my
work,
studio work. Listen to me.
without
my
teaching.
average,
Without teaching.
without teaching, my average is 20. I work all the time. My average is 20 to 30 hours a week,
Mhm.
besides the part-time job, besides teaching, besides this part-time job of running the school. But my minimum, my studio minimum is 12 hours.
So that's
Because
like
I always
4
know,
hours, 2 to 4 hours per day, 6 days a week.
yes, something like that.
That's a lot.
That actually, really truthfully, I paint every day when I can. So what I want you to understand is that I have a low minimum that I almost never do, right? Because because I'm a realist, because I know this is a long process, right? And I know I also have to do other things to make a living, get health insurance, yada, yada, yada. I know that sometimes life interferes, and I don't want to feel bad, right? If I don't meet my studio hours. So as a professional artist who does this for a living, whose main job is doing this, my studio minimum is 12. That's why when I start talking to people who are working full time, your studio minimum is, are you ready for this? 3 hours, 3 hours a week. So what's nice for you is that, and your class time counts, because that's where you get your work done, right? Like that's where you're getting the work done. So your low minimum is 3, but when you're looking to try and up, right, your production, as Mariana was saying, if you're looking to sort of increase your ability to finish things, you might want to double that. So your next jump will be 6 hours. And 6 hours can be done. It can be done. You can either do it you can build it in on your own time, but for many of you, I think it's class time where that really happens, right? Like, so 2 hours tonight, 2 hours Thursday night, 2 hours on, Sundays. Or what if you add one more 3-hour class there? That's a lot. That's a fair amount of, or instead of doing the Sunday class in the morning, you came to my studio class in the afternoon, or you came to the Saturday morning class. So that's how I want you to know that if you get 3 hours in a week, that's good. And then when you're starting to up your game, you're going to want to move up to 6. And then I remember when I told Janet Roberts she needed to go up to 12. She was so mad at me. She's probably laughing if she hears this video. But when she was ready, she did it. She moved up to 12. And she spends a lot of time drawing online with her friends. She has a little group of creative friends she meets with. She tries to get to classes when she can to add more hours. She fits it in, right, around like what she wants to do. So it's important to keep the low minimum 3, and then this sort of steady incline upwards, because this is a long game that we're all playing here. And I'll be honest, in the last 2 weeks, I've just done my studio minimum 12. I haven't been able to do 25 because it's been really exhausting. And sometimes, and I don't want to feel bad about that. I do not want to feel bad about that. I feel good if I meet my low minimum, and then on the rest of the weeks, then everything else is like gravy. So does that make sense? So 3 is your first, 6 is your second jump. And you can do all of that by meeting classes. Everybody ready on that? Okay, so feeling good, feeling ready? Let's do it. Let's talk about cityscapes. I'm going to spotlight this so you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture of this for you so you can see.
Oh, we're not,
this
not
looks,
finishing the old one. Okay.
you get to work on that on your own time.
All right.
Yep, or come to another class and work on it there.
Either one.
Yes, either one. So take a look at this. Yes, I got bored with the old one. I got tired of like stretching that out. So this was what was requested of you guys, and I'm going to send in, this is the, let's see, did I get that right? No, I'm going to send in here. Here we go. How does this look to you? Does this feel intimidating?
It's a little busy, I think, but I like the fact that there's a lot of darks in there.
Yep, good observation. What else? Mariana, how's this look to you?
I was talking on mute. I like it that I see like it is, maybe I'm wrong, but I see like it is more straight than the 2 previous ones.
Well, it's got, yes. And what way? Can you put words on
It's
it?
more vertically straight, you know.
Mhm.
The other ones that we made, especially the last one, had this triangle formation on the perspective, which
There
was,
is a triangle formation on the perspective here,
yeah, it
but
is.
it's more
Yeah,
simple.
exactly, but it's this.
It's more simple.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I picked this one because of course you guys are going to make decisions about how, because I think it's easy to simplify, but I also like that there's kind of a single vanishing point. If you remember correctly, the vanishing point, and I'm going to see, let me sketch this with a pencil first before I just want to make sure. So if you remember with the vanishing point, every building, yeah, I think it's about here. Hold on, I'm just double checking. I'm checking from several different angles where the vanishing point is, and then I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing. Yep, that's exactly it. This is single
I have a
vanishing
question
point.
for you, Leah.
What's that?
So if I cannot print the photo, right?
You can't print, you should not
Well,
print the
I
photo.
don't have a printer. I never print anything.
Yeah,
How,
yeah.
how can I not make a mistake on the inclination of the lines?
Because you're gonna locate the vanishing point and then they all go to the vanishing point. The end point is here,
Okay,
okay?
yeah,
I'll show you what that means.
okay.
And I'm just double checking it here simply before I show you what I mean by that. But that's literally every line is going to end at the same place at a single vanishing point. Yep, it's basically here. So the vanishing point, and I was just checking from above and below, is here.
Okay,
That's the vanishing point. That means that if it's where the horizon meets the ground, right? In very simple terms, it's like where, let's see here. Let me get
is
a
it
piece.
between the two lines of,
Where the horizon meets
yeah,
the,
but
the road.
it's like in the middle of the back building?
I'm gonna sketch you. Do you see where this do you see where this is?
Yeah, I see it, but I see, yeah, I see it.
It's where, if there weren't buildings in the way, where the horizon meets the road. Okay? So if there weren't buildings kind of coming all along here, it's where the horizon line, meaning if we could see the sky because there is not buildings in the way, it's where the sky, we would see the sky meet the land. But there's buildings in the way. Got that?
Yeah, yeah.
This means a couple of things. If you have a single vanishing point, it means that every line that is at an angle below goes up and ends here. So as you're trying to determine those lines, you can move. See that?
Yes.
That's how you do it, Mariana. Does that make sense? And not only can you do that, you can also determine how the buildings angle down because they go to the same point. Everything goes to the vanishing point. If you're wanting to check windows on the side, right? Like you want to draw those windows, each of these little tiny lines, these windows, which we can see, we're just looking straight at them. But the windows on the side, or like say this line here, it all goes to the same vanishing point. So that's how you figure it out. So let's talk a little bit about the P before we get this. Does that answer your question?
Kind of.
Yep, you'll see as you get into it. So I want to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to sketch them out and then I'm going to show them to you. I'll send them over to you. There are several pieces to this cityscape. There is, of course, the sky. It's this little peephole in here. This is definitely the farthest away, right? There's the sky. There's this shape here. And then there's this far back building that we're facing directly, right? In front of us. That is the next farthest away thing. And then there's this line. I don't want to get too complicated. There's like a line. There's the cars. And you'll notice I'm not really treating them like separate things. There is like this line of cars here. They're pretty close to us. And then some really cool reflections, right? Which are really the closest thing. And then there's these buildings on the side, which kind of go back. So there are pieces. And we kind of break this as we're fixing this landscape. as we're dealing with this landscape, let's see, here we go. Where we're not focusing on every single. And by the way, look at that. All the cars have the same, they all go to the same vanishing point. The bus goes to the same vanishing point. Everything goes to the same vanishing point. So these are basically, I'd say we've got 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and 5 areas of this landscape that we're going to treat different, the cityscape that we treat differently because they're different distances from us. So let me send a picture over so you can start to get a look at it. You'll see it really clearly when I send it over because it's in yellow. And you can decide how much detail you want in any of these areas, right? You can simplify, you can make it dark. As we start sketching, I think I'm gonna want to see how this works out. Once you determine where your vanishing point is, all your lines are going to lead to it. Every one of these crosswalk lines, by the way, leads to your vanishing point. Right? Okay. All these groups of cars lead to the vanishing point. This sidewalk leads to the vanishing point. And then all these building ledges, these buildings on the side kind of lead to the vanishing point. The tops, the bottoms. So when we start to sketch out, we're just going to be sketching out the kind of outer shapes of the buildings. And all of the vertical lines are just straight up and down. And anything that's sticking out like this, right, it isn't on the side. So it's just straight up and down. If you see windows kind of facing you, that means that part of the building is straight up and down. This part of the building, most of the vanishing points. So we're going to locate our vanishing point and then we're going to start sketching in these shapes is essentially what we're going to do. And believe it or not, I think it's going to be easier than you think. So let's start with, come on you. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to do is locate my vanishing point on my paper. Here with me. I've got a new holder coming in this week. I'm like so annoyed. I'm frustrated with this one. I can't quite ever get it to straighten up. We'll see. No, I want you straighter. Okay. Move this up just a little bit. So where would you kind of guess that vanishing point is in relation to the paper? It's right here. It's right.
Is that New York?
I don't know.
Okay.
No idea.
Right under that Rockefeller Center building looking.
It's right here. I didn't ask where it is on the, I asked where it is on the paper. How high up is it on the paper? So the first thing we're going to do, is it halfway up the paper?
No,
Okay, so take a look and see if you can measure how far up the paper this goes.
I would say a little more than.
Don't guess, please.
No,
I
I'm not
want you to
guessing.
actually measure.
it's a
Guess.
third, it's a third, it's a
It's more
third.
than a third.
It's a little bit more than a third.
Yeah,
You're right.
a third, yeah.
Definitely not a half. Yes, and let me get rid of this so we're not distracted by this white ledge. It's definitely not a half. It's definitely a little bit more than a third. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Actually, it's a little bit more. It is a third. If you get rid of this little white ledge, gotta get rid of it down here too. This is the color version. You can get some ideas on colors. There we go. 1, 2, 3. It's a third. It wasn't, Paul, you're right, when I was counting that white ridge, but when you come here, so if I want to come here, I can just kind of guess. 1, well, not guess. 1, 1, 2, 3. And I can see that my second third is about here. Here's my first vanishing point. And then the first thing I could do maybe is sketch out this building, this sort of light building that's in the back. It's really a fairly simple shape. It doesn't go that high because I know this is the second third. So it really is just shaped like this. Definitely not straight. And I tend to like to draw out the thing that's the closest. So I'm going to start, before I get into too much detail, I'd like to actually sketch out the outer shape of the cars. So if I look at this, watch me do this. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. It's almost a third down. 2, 3. The sidewalk, the sidewalk starts like here, starts almost a third down. And then I've got like a car shape that comes here and up. I'm doing this here. And then if I have a see that? If I have a line that's going back, so I'm doing this line, this is straight. I went over here, then I went down here under the bus, and then to get that diagonal line, I lined it up with my vanishing point. And then here, straight, up, here, straight, and then this lines up with the vanishing point. Then I can kind of sketch that to the vanishing point. And then I can block in the bus here. You'll see it's weird that the buses and the cars don't take up as much space as you think they should, considering that's really where all the detail is. So let me sketch a few shapes. I'm going to send this in, and then I want you guys to try it too. So notice every time I'm bringing a part of the car or the bus back or forward, I'm lining it up with the vanishing point. The front of the bus is just a simple shape. The front of each car, I'm not getting too into the details yet. And then let's see, between the cars is this little triangle. So I'm almost like Isn't it interesting? I'm kind of like sketching. I'm not getting into too much detail. I'm sort of sketching. I'm blocking out the shapes very simply. I didn't realize what a great exercise this would be for that. And then I'm gonna. There we go. This is this line of cars. This is this line of cars. This is this bus, and then this is this line of cars. And then I've got my second crosswalk line. So this is the top of the crosswalk. Is this like strangely easier than you expected it to be? We'll see. It's too soon to say.
Yeah, exactly. I can just be.
Yeah, Gabby, I'm gonna do one more
Accelerator.
line. And then I'm gonna stop here. All right, so this is how I want you to start. I'm gonna take a picture of this. So you've got it. I'm gonna take a picture of this. There we go. All right. So this, if I have to label it, is this line of cars, car, car. This is the sidewalk. This is that center building right in the front. This is bus. And then this is car. And it's not just the car, right? It's the line. There you go. And this is the crosswalk. So try it. And this is a funny way to think, right, about art. Like it's breaking it up into simple shapes. Even if you get no farther than this, I think this will be a good practice. I'll be back. I guess Diana's too busy tonight. I know she's getting her judging.
Oh, for the awards ceremony?
In December. Hey, Buzzy, up. Oh, that Buzzy. Here, Kevin. There. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. All right. Doesn't look not too bad, Mariana. Not too bad at all. Good. One. Okay, Paul, your building is too high. If you look here, you can see that here's 1/3, 2/3, like 3/3, still a little bit high, right? The building, this is the second kind of third, and the building should come below that. So you see, here's my third.
Okay, but the vanishing point is in the right place.
The vanishing point's in the right place.
Okay, so I'll bring it down.
Absolutely. That looks pretty good, actually, you guys. So let's go a little further. I'm gonna sketch you notice I'm sketching the easiest things first, which is like totally valid. I'm kind of sketching in around these. Okay, and then when I get to here, all my white lines, these little blocks here, they're all the lines on the side are going to lead towards this, the vanishing point. So as I start to come in here on this side, yes, and then I'm just keeping my, I'm going to sketch in. Yeah, I'm just going to sketch in my sidewalk lines. They get a little bit, notice I'm just kind of keeping them, I'm keeping my ruler on the vanishing point and I'm just moving the ruler. See this? Isn't that cool? So I don't even really need to check my measurements because I know everything is going to the same vanishing point. Cool, eh? It's actually incredibly easy. Okay, and then, yep, one more. That sidewalk here. Notice as the sidewalk pieces go away from you, go to the left or the right, they get a little bit narrower. And your sidewalk doesn't exactly have to match what's happening here. The easy things first. And then I'm also gonna sort of sketch in these little light shapes. These kind of light reflections from the car headlights. You can see them here because they're gonna stay light. So I might as well, I'm really looking at the shape of them, where they are in relation. This has a little bit of this thing going on, but then also a little bit of this. And then here. It's kind of some, like, it's this moment to kind of really focus in without getting too fancy. There we go. And there's a little bit up here too with a bus. Yeah. I can see you guys are getting it. Good job. You're getting the principle, which is the main thing I really wanted you to get. There. I think the weirdest thing about drawing is getting used to kind of breaking things apart in ways that don't feel, they are more related with like how they are, whether they're closer or farther away from you in space. And that's a little bit strange. Go.
Oh, that's my car.
What's that?
No, I'm looking at the cars. For some reason, you have much more room than I do. Under your,
If that's true, you didn't put it in the right place. You didn't put your vanishing point in the right place. You should explore that.
it's at the 1/3 point, right?
Yep. But look how much room there is. You probably brought things way too far down, Paul. You made them too
Probably.
big. Yeah, so maybe look at where you put your crosswalk. Crosswalk goes at about 1/3 down the page. The top of the crosswalk goes about 1/3 down the page. This line is about 1/3
Hmm.
down. So remeasure that.
Oh, I see what happened. Okay.
Yeah, you went too far down.
No, when we drew the second line was the crosswalk, I thought that I drew below
Oh,
that.
you do below that.
Yeah.
Well, the second line is below. This is my first line. This is the second line. You just put it too far down. What's happening here? What's happening?
No. Yeah.
Yep. So as usual, kind of making things a little too big, which is understandable. Sorry, it says my internet connection is unstable. But remember, it's real easy to make things too big. So that's the first thing you should problem solve, is that you make too much space. It's important to put things in context.
Vicky, ya te tienes que acostar.
Let's see. Yes. I think you can probably get rid of a couple of these, Mariana. There's a lot.
Couple of what?
There's more space between, there's more sidewalk between these than you have. Maybe get rid of one or two, but in
Okay.
general, you can take care of that in
yeah,
the
I see.
painting. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
You
they're
gotta pay
they're-
attention to this, right? Like these kind of things are important because these are the things that we notice organically and it looks weird to us. There needs to be more space between them, but that is the general principle.
Yeah, I have one more. There are 12. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, Paul, you're having a problem here. These are not going towards the vanishing point.
Which ones?
Every single, these ones, everything on this side is not in the crosswalk, is not going towards the
Oh,
vanishing
yeah,
point.
yeah, okay.
None of them. Please erase all those and put them towards the vanishing point. Put them where they're supposed to be. You get tired and you stop paying attention. I know this about you.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah, you just stop. You just like stop focusing. So refocus. Every single one of these lines goes towards the vanishing point. Okay. And then you can see actually adding the buildings is a little bit easier than you think. Because building lines are kind of straight up and down. I know that doesn't look straight, but it is straight. So I'm going to sketch in this first building here. Remember, all my sidelines. Okay, just gonna do it that way. This all goes with sidelines, right? These lines, the top and the bottom, they go towards the vanishing point. Right. These So when I come over here,
Got our killer in custody without full confession.
sorry,
This should be enough for the DA.
my audio book. Sorry about that. I can see.
What are
that
you
this-
listening to?
Just a dumb mystery.
Uh,
I love them. The dumber, the better. The dumber, the better. It's like I can kind of zone out. So here's the front of the bus. I'm just going to bring a straight line lined up with the front part of the bus to about here. And then let's see. The top, I can see here that the top of this building starts about here and comes down to there. See that? So this just goes straight up. That building goes down. So here's the top of my building. And then because my proportions are a little bit higher, my building is going to have a slightly different shape. I can see that this line kind of originates here. Goes to the center. And then this line, which is kind of just above the bus, goes here. So there's building number 1. Everything goes towards the center. I shouldn't have put that one in because it's going to confuse people later. Messy. So that's building number 1. And then building number 2. Is literally straight down here, goes up to about here. So you can see it almost makes like a pizza pie slice. This just goes straight up. If you're worried about lining up your ruler straight, drawing a line straight up and down, just line your top of your ruler up with the top of your page. If it's like this or like this, then you know your line isn't straight. You can also do it with the bottom of your page. Works just as well. So here's number 2. I'm actually going to erase this part of the line because I don't want it there. And if I feel like I'd like my building to go back a little bit farther, I can also totally change it like this, right? I could do that as long as this part of the eraser is lined up. And I think I do want to do that. And then this part of the building on this side, notice I'm lining up my ruler with the edge of the straight part of the building. Down to about here. And it goes straight. And then this last little bit just comes straight down. Like that. Ultimately, you have this series of like little slices, like little pizza slices of building These little triangles, these, where the roofs go down. I'm simplifying a little bit. Oh my God, I made the mistake of donating to a Democrats campaign. And now I get texts and emails all day long.
Isn't that fun?
And no one ever said fucking thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, they're just like, give us more, give us more,
Yeah.
give us more, give us more, give us more. More, 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 more.
You're a
Cash cow.
You're a revenue stream.
I'm a revenue, yes,
Yes.
yes, that's exactly right, Paul. I've
Full
become a
customer
revenue
coming
stream.
back. Yeah. It's like those infomercials. Once you they're like it's like those infomercials where once you
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's exactly right. It's just it's a
Yeah.
horror show.
the cooking thing or the
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
gonna
you're right.
you're
You're right. That is indeed true. It's like, God, I mean, I really want the Democrats to win, but still, Jesus.
Yeah, I interviewed a libertarian the other day. You know, the guys that never get elected, the people that never get elected, but they're always on the ballot. Oh, she's not there.
I'm excited at the end for you to look back and see how much easier the structure is than you think. I can see you guys are in the thick of it right now, which is cool. When you think you've got it, send it over. And then we've just got this one last section to fill out, which are the buildings on this side. And then it'll be time to end class and we'll paint next week. Now I'm looking it up, Mariana. I want to see if the US will do daylight savings in 2023. They're definitely doing it this year. There you go, Paul. Yeah, you guys, feeling it, right? Starting to feel it. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's do the second side. So it's not as hard when you're starting out, right? It's not as hard. We've done this front section. We've done these cars. We've done this sort of back area. We automatically carve out the sky. And in fact, if we really wanted to be kind of clever about this, this is probably the next thing we do, right? Let's carve out that sky shape and use that. And then use that to help us shape our buildings. There's like a little, see that? Ugh, for heaven's sake. There's like a little bit of building peeking out here on this side. And then this part, the tricky part when you're looking at things from far back is sometimes like what's straight on and what's angled. Anything that's on the side here. There we go. So that's angled. This is straight on. This is straight. Right, then that's, let's see, so we've got that. And then in here, if you want to, there's kind of a second building. I'm not sure I'm so into that right now. You can kind of decide how much detail you want to get into. Here. Everything else kind of goes at an angle. This whole building in the front, this whole front section. Here, I'll try and sketch out the major shapes. There's like a block of windows that go here. Then all these windows go down here. That's like that. There's these crazy shapes you can choose to ignore completely. I might. It just depends. So once again, I'm lining up as I'm drawing these angled lines, right? Yep. Maybe I decide I want to draw. Ugh, see, I wasn't very careful. I did not draw that line straight. Let me get rid of that. reline up my ruler. Let's be less fluffy. There's parts of this building that kind of stick out like this, then go straight down, then go down, right? I can do as much of this as I feel like, as much detail as I feel like. As little. But now I've pretty much sketched out my major pieces. Here, and I will take a picture of this. Because it's watercolor that we're working with, we're gonna be doing a little bit more pencil drawing to define like windows and things. So we're gonna need to do a little bit more than we have, but this is definitely the start. As we start to sort of figure out what we want to sketch. You guys are doing great, by the way, really good. And then when you've gotten to this point, let's start adding in some windows. More straight lines. Here, right? Not so fancy, but now you're wanting to add a little bit. It's sloppy and my lines aren't straight. Stick with your ruler. Will not serve you poorly. Here you go. Line up my ruler on the top of my page. Down here. I'm not trying to like draw every window, but I'm trying to draw lines that really mark. I'm also kind of looking at the light patterns. That's helpful. Notice that usually one side of the building, like the front of the building, will be darker. Let's see, so if I want to do this, I want to do that. That's kind of dark. Other sides, the other side is usually light. So here's a second building here, kind of peeking out straight. It's fairly dark. And then down here, it's light. On the side, it's light. So you're kind of looking for light and dark shapes you can pull out. Let's see. As the buildings get closer to you, the shapes get bigger. Maybe in some areas you emphasize the shapes and some you don't. right? So now you're kind of trying. Sometimes the windows are light. We'll deal with that later, but right over here, it gets kind of darker. Then another line down. I don't know. You get to add as much detail as you want to. Here on this side, there's these weird kind of flying saucery things. Want to remove this and look at the right now, right? These kind of come. So, oh, I see. It's like columns. So I think the best thing to do here, if you want to get in any of this detail, you don't have to. Notice that although these columns are straight lines down, as we move farther away, as I move further towards the center, the space between them gets smaller because they're farther away. There we go. And then I think I'm looking at these because these are light shapes I can probably use to good effect. By the way, the tops of these little light shaped things also, I can see what I'm doing here. I'm doing that wrong. They also fit into this vanishing point. So you'll notice here, without really paying attention, I was making them too big. They also need to fit into right, these parameters. There we go. And then it's kind of dark. I'll take a picture of this so you can see these clearly.
Oh, Leia, for the political cartoon class, I'm gonna do a caricature of Asa Hutchinson, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I look forward to
Yeah,
seeing that.
excellent.
Unfortunately, we don't get any more time with Paul, but
yeah, he was great.
he's great. But Lorelai's really good too.
Who's Lorelai?
She's the new caricature teacher.
Oh, are we having a class for caricatures?
On Sundays.
Really? Okay, I'm
Mhm.
gonna be there.
All right, I'll add you to the thread.
Okay.
so that you
What
can
time is
see.
it on Sundays?
9 o'clock our time.
Then I'll be there almost every Sunday then.
It switches, she will switch off on Sundays at that time zone between her class and printmaking.
Okay.
But it's one of the two will be there. Here, hold on, caricature drawing. I'll add you in.
All right, I'd appreciate it.
Yes.
Did you already have one?
No. She was supposed to start last week, but she got sick,
Oh,
so she's starting this week.
Oof.
I know there's a lot.
Yeah, you get confused with the windows, right?
I mean, I just can't, sometimes I'm gonna do less, sometimes I'm gonna do more. I just want enough to kind of define. I don't think it's confusing. I think it's just like, how much do you want to do? In the areas that are like closer here, I tend to do more. So for example, down here, I think these details are pretty important. Like these windows are kind of important and they're literally, oops. I'm using the wrong pencil. Right, these are just straight lines. Down. And then usually there's, you can see the inside of the window frame here. Right, I'll do that. Yeah, there's a lot. If you get tired of working on the windows, you can work on the car shapes. So what you need to notice about the car shapes, and let me see if I can sketch these in without blocking off too much, is that this is the front of the car, right? Same here. This is the front of the car where the white areas are. Front of the bus. Front of the car. And then the yellow part is the side. So let me show you that. This is the side of the car. And that also, of course, right, the top of the bottom go to the vanishing point. And then you can really usually, the line of the cars also goes, sort of lines up with the vanishing point. The line of the bus also goes to the vanishing point. So there's a side of the car and there's a front of the car. I think these guys are going to be kind of important too. So let's see if you can see that as I send it across. The yellow is the side of the car and it goes away from you. And the white is the front of the car. So just like a cube, whoops, dang it, come here. There we go. So just like a cube, right? Let's see, I need a piece of paper. For a cube, this is the front, this is the front of the cube, right? And this is the side of the cube. These are the sides of the cube. This is the front of the cube. The car also has that. So the white shape is the front shape. And notice that these little lines you've drawn on either side, everything has to fit. All the cars need to fit in that, within this cone here. Let me see if I can show you how that works. So this car here. So this is like, damn it. we'll keep working on this. Doesn't all have to be done. It can take as long as we want. But I think there's some important lessons in here for you guys. So that's why I'm kind of wanting you to. Here we go. Dropping things. So if I'm dealing with the front car, it's like this. And then there's this shape of the thing. And then the sort of trunk of the car. Oh no, it's gotta go in a little bit closer. It can't go right to the edge of this triangle. It's gotta come in a little bit because there's gotta be room on the side. So there's the front. And then here is the side. And then the back of the back car. See how everything kind of fits in this.
It's like the deer or the cow.
Yeah, exactly, Paul. Great memory, exactly. The exact right correlation. Everything has to fit in that little, which helps actually. Here, I've got like, let's see. So it's like, here is the front. Right, and then here, it's exactly like that cow. You guys, it's fantastic. There's the side.
Hey,
Hi. Give me just a second. Oh, thank you. Good to see you. How you
Good to see you.
feeling?
a little bit better. Yeah,
Okay. I'm
just
so
like
sorry.
slowly
Oh, honey,
coming
I'm so
back to
sorry.
life.
I'm so sorry. Excellent. I'll make sure these get to the right places. You got paid.
Appreciate
She
it.
got paid, right?
I think, so. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we're-
yeah. This was all there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And open studios went okay, even though the last day you couldn't be open?
Not many people came by. Yeah.
It's funny, we had the biggest record here at the record
Really?
turnout. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, more people than ever.
Whoa.
So I think it has to do with like building up a following, building up
Right.
but also working with your neighbors
Uh-huh.
to refer. It's a whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, we saw another person.
I mean, a bunch
not
of people
far
told
away.
me that they came on the last Sunday
Oh,
to
yeah.
see you.
Yeah.
So. that
Yeah, we
they
had
were
a
like,
few people stop by that Sunday, yeah, but then I kind of,
You couldn't
I,
be open.
yeah, exactly. I just
Yeah,
put a
yeah,
sign
yeah.
up that said. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sorry.
yeah. But anyway, yeah. So, okay, well, we'll be back in touch on this. Thank
Cool.
you for these.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Thanks
And
for
feel
distributing them.
better, and feel better.
Thank you, appreciate
We'll
it.
talk to you soon.
See ya.
Yep. Sorry about that. Right there, excellent. The bus is key. It takes up a lot of space. So look at how this bus. And also, you're kind of blocked from, the side is kind of obvious. Right, like this. Oops, 77. Things get very crunched the moment you kind of scoot away when it comes to the cars. You'll see a little bit goes a long way when it comes to the cars. You don't need that much, particularly as you go further back.
The third card is actually, there's more of the third card than there is the second card.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes that's true.
Is that snow on the floor?
Yep. You mean on the ground?
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. What? I just keep. No, okay, I see. Okay. Hmm. Paul, your lines are leaning this way. Your straight lines are leaning like this. They should be vertically, you should be straight, up and down. Your vertical line should be straight up and down. They are not, they are leaning this way. Look at them and you'll see, particularly on the left, on the right side, but also happening here on the left. So straighten those. Or don't. Do what you want to do, guys. But if you want to get perspective right, these lines need to be straight up and down. And you do that by lining the edge of your ruler straight against, right? So it's following the flat edge, the flat horizontal edge at the top or the bottom of the page. Otherwise, your ruler's going this way, it's going that way. I decided to bring my sidewalk down just a little bit. No, do I really want to do that? I don't think I want to do that. Oh, this will help. There we go. You're gonna see that these patterns and these rhythms are really like kind of, as you get more into it, are light shapes. Right? Groups of lights, darks. The front of the awning like this is a pretty straightforward shape, but then the side of the awning. They're street lamps. They're a little hard to see, but once you get into them, you can see them. Those are straight up and down.
Oh,
You
yeah, I
get-
see.
The bus. Scared about the bus.
Don't get too caught up in any one thing. Big mistake. The bus is not taking up enough space to make you that crazy. Here, and then there's parts where this juts out. Ah, about to lose power. Hold on.